procrastination. I stopped saying I've got to wait for good things to happen to me, and I said I'm going to grind. I'm going to fight. I'm going to work. I'm going to press toward. I'm going to learn. I'm going to do everything in my power every single day. I'm going to do everything in my power to become a victor and not a victim.
What's going on, everybody? It's your boy Patrick, and in today's video, this is a very highly anticipated and highly requested video from all of my followers on Instagram. And basically what it's going to be is what I know now and my top 3 bulking tips for, gaining weight and gaining size and overall bulking. So these are going to be my 3 tips. I went from skinny to jacked, so these are going to be my 3 tips for bulking that is really going to help you guys out. And if you didn't know these things, when you know them now, it's going to make a big difference when you guys are trying to gain weight, trying to bulk up, trying to get huge. So let's get right into it. So tip number 1 is going to be increase the amount of time you have in the day to eat. So I'm sure a lot of you have heard of intermittent fasting, and that's going to be a tool that you can use to lose weight, right? So what that is basically is you limit the time of day that you can eat, where you don't eat, so you fast for a long time, and then you have a little window to eat, and that's going to help you, decrease your calories and eat less calories every day to lose weight. So what I mean by by increasing the amount of time you have in the day to eat is basically the opposite of intermittent fasting, where you wake up earlier and you go to bed a little bit later, just so that you have more time to eat, in the day. And basically that's just going to allow you to, eat more food. And it's like when you wake up, you want to wake up a little bit earlier, and then you have time to cook right when you wake up. And even if you're not hungry, I suggest you guys don't chill in your bed, don't go on your phone for 30 minutes when you wake up, because you're just wasting time. Even if you're not hungry, I suggest get out of bed right away, get down cooking, and then by the time you're done cooking, usually you'll be hungry enough to eat, or you'll be, hungry enough that you actually might be hungry after waiting that certain amount of time, because cooking takes a while, right? So you're not just going to wake up out of bed and have food in front of you ready. So I suggest you wake up a little bit earlier, get cooking right away, and then you'll have food early in the day. And why this is so important is, especially with quarantine going on, or if it's a weekend type of day where you don't have anything to do in the morning, usually people will sleep into 11, 12 o'clock, and by that time, if you're waking up, you're only eating your first meal at like 12, and that's already, that's close to lunchtime already, or if not, that's most people when they eat lunch. So basically you're already a whole meal behind, and you're not even that hungry because you woke up so late. And then also, it's easier to wake up earlier and eat, because you can be loud, you can be cooking, all that stuff. When it's getting late, if you're going to bed at like 3 to 4 a.m., which you don't want to do, because then you can't make smoothies, because you don't want to wake up your family, you don't want to get cooking, you don't want to make noise while people are trying to sleep. So you got to try to wake up as early as you can to start eating right away, and then have your last meal before you go to bed. All right, number 2, oils are your best friend. So a lot of people think that, fat in your diet equals fat gain. And if you're trying to bulk up, you mainly want, muscle gain with a little bit of fat. And you don't want to gain too much fat in your bulk, because, people want to build muscle, right? We don't want to gain fat. But people always think that, when you have lots of fat in your diet, like oils, fried food, all that stuff, people think that fat in your diet equals fat gain, when that's definitely not the case, and that's very untrue. Basically, it's just if you're in a calorie surplus, you're going to gain the same amount of fat. So if you're in a calorie surplus eating a lot of fat or eating a lot of carbs, it's not going to make much of a difference. You'll gain the same amount of fat as you would, if you're eating a calorie surplus of just protein. Like, it's not fat in your diet equals fat on your body. So just get that out of your head. And then, use oils as your best friend. So, when you're making anything with a pan, don't use those 0 calorie or those 5 calorie sprays, when you could use, some avocado oil, some type of, coconut oil, mixed oil, and stuff like that, where that's like 200 calories a serving, when you can just replace it with a 5 calorie spray. So don't be like, that's a great opportunity for you to add, 100, 200 calories in your day, and you're wasting it by just using a 0 calorie or a 5 calorie spray. So make sure to get your oils in and use, cooking oil or any other type of oil to add easy calories. And also, one thing that I did do when I was really struggling, to gain calories, and when I had to get really high in my surplus, above 3,000, when it gets really hard to pack on extra calories, is I would actually, meal prep my rice and put coconut oil in my rice. And that way, when you mix it with my whole meal prep, it would add about, 50 to 60 calories when you break it down per meal. But even if you don't like coconut, like I wasn't a big fan of coconut, but you really couldn't taste it. And when you're eating the rice with the chicken, it's very unnoticeable, and it's a very easy way to, just add an extra 50 calories and you don't even notice it because it's oil, right? All right, number 3, a lot of people think that you gain fat or you gain muscle based on if your diet is dirty or clean. Now, if you follow me on other platforms, you'll know I don't recommend a dirty bulk. And what I mean by that is I don't recommend you're not tracking, you're eating whatever you want, whenever you want. I always, preach and suggest a healthy, I guess you could say clean diet. But people are always afraid of fast food and sugary food and, dirty food, when it's okay to have that to get you into a surplus. But I wouldn't recommend it if you're using it to get into, 1,000 calorie surplus, 600 calorie surplus. That's when it's a dirty bulk, and that's when you won't gain weight. But if you need to eat, let's say, 3,300 calories, and that's very difficult for you like it was for me, then it's okay to have some fast food here and there to get you to that 3,300 number. Now, if you're eating fast food all the time and you're eating, when you need to be in a 300 surplus, you're now eating in a 1,000 surplus, that's when you're going to gain the fat. That's when, you're going to get more fat gain than muscle gain, and that's where I would draw the line and not suggest that. But I want to say, don't be afraid of, sugary food, and don't be afraid of fast food if you're using it to get into your surplus. As long as you're tracking the calories you're eating and you're staying in that, 300, 400 surplus, it's okay to have sugary food. It's okay to have fast food if that's what it's going to take, right? And a lot of people talk about, taking a mass gainer, or they want to take a mass gainer, or should they take a mass gainer? But when you guys actually look into the, nutritional facts, you're going to see that mass gainers are purely made up of carbs, sugars, and protein. You could get the same exact effect by using just a whey protein and, using ice cream and using milk and using honey and oats and making your own mass gainer, with a smoothie at home, and it'll save you money. And that way you know exactly what you're putting in it. You're putting in, dairy products, what exactly you're putting in and how much you're putting in. When you take things like mass gainers, you don't know what types of sugars they're using. You don't know what's actually in that. You just know it's calories. So that's why don't be afraid of sugars. Don't be afraid of fast food. You don't even need a mass gainer. You can just make your own with ice cream and all that stuff. And if you think that a mass gainer is a better option than making, a sugary smoothie, you're mistaken, because 99% of these mass gainers, the way that they have so many calories in them is it's loaded with sugar and it's loaded with carbs, which you can just do on your own at home. Alright, and I know this is supposed to be 3 tips, but this is just a bonus one. You guys have to want it. It's very simple. You track your calories, you eat enough. Like, all these tips are going to help you, but you guys have to want it. It's a very simple process to gain weight or to lose weight just by eating in a surplus or eating in a deficit. But just because it's simple doesn't mean that it's easy. You have to stay consistent. And the way that I personally like to do it, and the way that I was able to, stay consistent and consistently see results, is I wouldn't go on a massive dirty bulk for however long. I would always stay in a lean surplus, and that's how I kept my body fat low, and that's how, I managed to track and control my weight gain, that whenever I saw, abs fading or, definition fading, I could easily go back to my maintenance calories within a couple days, and I would stop gaining that fat. And then when I wanted to, sacrifice some, leanness to get bigger, then I could just once again increase my surplus and increase my calories in a couple days to, get back on that surplus and get bigger. But the best block, or the best way that I found it to do it, was that I would do 2 months of a heavy surplus. So 2 months of a 300 calorie surplus every single day, no days off, guys. You have to want it. You have to stay consistent. And then I would do 2 months of that, gain as much weight as I can in those 2 months on that 300 surplus, and then take a 1 month break of just going back to my maintenance, because there's only so much that you can force feed before you get tired of it, right? So I would spend that 2 months of just getting it done, man, having, wanting it badly, force feeding almost every day, waking up full and having to eat, go to bed full, all that type of stuff. And then I would do that for 2 months in a row, staying consistent. And then 1 month going back on my maintenance calories, where I wasn't losing weight, but I was just staying the same. I wasn't gaining. And I, still working out, of course, but just staying in that maintenance calories so that I wouldn't have to force feed. I wouldn't have to, feel like shit most of the time and wouldn't have to go to bed full and wake up full. And then after, that month of kind of maintenance, I would hop back on another 2 months surplus. And then I basically just went on like cycles like that. And that's a good way to kind of, reset, relax, and then, regain your surplus again once you're not so tired of it. Because going on a long surplus and just, force feeding every day can get tiring. It can be hard to stay consistent that way. So I found that going on these, blocks was the best way for me to do it. And, I suggest you guys try that out if you're struggling. But that's going to be it for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed. Make sure to leave a like if you did enjoy. Comment down below, any thoughts or any other questions. And the next video on my channel is most likely going to be a how I stay motivated video. So make sure you hit that subscribe button so you don't miss that. And thanks for watching. Peace.